Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, Professor Sheila Reddy, and dear students of Sri Venkateshwara. Good morning and namaskar to all of you. It's really great to be here with you, with the students, the young minds, and the future citizens of India. I would love to be personally interacting, but of course, in the new conditions, we have to behave in a new way. Yeah, firstly, I must tell you that I have a long connect with Sri Venkateshwara, more than 35 years old. My wife happens to be the alumni of Venki's, and I have a lot of stories about Venki's and lot many things about it, more than I know of my own college. So that way, it's great and wonderful that it's one of the best colleges in Delhi. And congratulations to all of you. I must firstly congratulate the principal and the staff and the students also to celebrate this or commemorate the Martyrs' Day. As they have already spoken, Mrs. Namita Pandey and the speakers before me have said very wisely and very good comment they have already made that we must remember our martyrs at least once in a year and pay our homage, and that's really wonderful. I mean, I must congratulate this college for that. It's good they are doing. I'm very proud of it. Today, as you already said, that it is Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary. That is one, and I would like to remind you that there is something on 23rd March also when Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev were hanged, in Lahore. So that is also a very famous, considered as another Martyrs' Day. And you all are fully aware of this story of Bhagat Singh because of the Rang De Basanti movie you saw. That was one really motivating. But before I start my talk, I would also like to narrate a small incident about in the Indian Army. You must have heard of various stories of various valor and courage. But this one is very, very close to my heart because I am myself a tank man. So I would like to tell you about a tank related story. This is about Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal. You must have heard of him. He was born in 1950 and commissioned into the Indian Army in June 71, just 6 months before the war. And he was commissioned into Pune Horse, like armored regiments in the army have various names, Deccan Horse, Sindh Horse, Pune Horse, or 61 Cav, 62 Cav, thing like that. So he was born in 50 and joined in 71, of course, and commissioned into the regiment. And just before the war, because the war clouds are building up, there were no courses being held for, training the young officers on gunnery and all that aspects. And because of that, he may not have been taken to the war. But he went to his CO, Colonel Hanur Singh, who later became a Lieutenant General, that he said, I have to go. And he pleaded with tears in his eyes that I must go for the war. So Colonel Hanur, his commanding officer, organized a special course for him. A coaching, how to use the tank and how to use the gunnery and all that. And he said, unless you pass, you will not be taken. So a special course was conducted for him in the unit lines, and thereafter he leaves. And then comes the December 71. You all know. India was fighting on two fronts. One on the western border and the main, of course, the Bangladesh border, eastern border. And here, of course, the western border. In December, on 15, 16 in fact, Pakistan was trying to cut the supply line, the logistic road. If you've been to Jammu Pathankot highway is a straight road up north. So if they cut that, Indian Army will be at a great loss. So they attacked along with the tanks of 13 Lancers of Pakistanis. And on this side we had Pune House. So there was a fierce battle. One of the fiercest battle of Basanta was held in the battle. It's a very fierce tank battle that was held in the history. And there are many memorials to it. So during this fierce battle, many losses were taking place on either side. And finally, a situation came when there were only 3 tanks, a troop, which were led by Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, and there was a squadron of tanks on the other side, a squadron with 14 tanks. Imagine 3 against 14. But this gentleman, a very smart, handsome officer, 6 feet plus, was so passionate and full of josh that he never let those tanks advance. In fact, he alone shot down about 8 of them. And this troop together shot down 10. Imagine 3 against 14. They shot down 10 tanks of Pakistanis, and people in the Pakistani tank, when it got hit or caught fire, they just left the tank and vanished to safety. So then finally a state came when it was only one tank of Khetrapal and four of Pakistanis. In fact, his tank was also hit and there was fire in the tank. He got orders from headquarters that you must vacate because people are watching in the battlefield. You can see from a distance what's happening. His tank was on fire. His driver also pleaded, "Sir, please move out. At least you can save yourself." But he said, "I will not move an inch back," in spite of clear orders. He said, "My gun is still working," because in a tank, even if the tank is hit, it's a Centurion tank, the turret revolves and the gun can be controlled. So he kept on firing and did not let the Pakis move ahead. In fact, the Pakis were shocked that they lost this battle because of this one gentleman. And finally, the Pakistan commander managed to shoot the second round which hit the tank of Arun Khetrapal and he martyred. It was a great day. In fact, that one gentleman saved the day for us and did not give in to the trick of cutting the Jammu-Pathankot highway. So that was a great event, and we have various memorials to Khetrapal. We have in National Defence Academy, Indian Military Academy and various other places. But the story does not end here. It has a corollary to it. About 30 years later, in 2001, his father, also a brigadier in the engineers, and his grandfather was also in the army. He was a third generation officer. He goes to Pakistan. The father, Brigadier Khetrapal, goes to Pakistan to visit his birthplace, that is Sargodha. And he was already 81 in last year of his life. He wanted to see his birthplace in Pakistan. And there he was helped by a Brigadier Nazir of Pakistan. He was also a retired old cavalier, armored corpsman. So they helped him to see the place and they gave him a lot of, looked after him well. And on the last day when he was to leave, they had a parting dinner. And as a host, he was very, very good. This is in 2001. Toward the end of the day, in the evening after dinner, etc., Nazir mentioned that, "Sir, your son is really brave. I happened to be there on that day, on 16th December 71. When your son held us, he wouldn't let us cross. And he was a brave boy. He really fought." And the father, Brigadier Khetrapal, was really proud of his son. Really, and coming from an enemy. Praise. We all praise our children, our heroes and our soldiers. But enemy praising is really, in fact, there are many written articles also on this. How this one soldier, one officer held the battle there. But later on, the Brigadier Nazir also added, but he said, "Unfortunately, I was the one who shot him. He died at my hands." But that was a real shock. Imagine a father's plight. After 30 years, he comes to know. He comes to a place where a gracious host looks after him so well and then tells him that he is the one who killed his son. Imagine the state of mind. But these things happen as a soldier and men of character face it. So he let it off because after all, they are fighting for their nation and we are fighting for our nation, and as soldiers we have to move on. So that was a great incident which I always like this happening and it has etched in my mind. All these martyrs that we mentioned, and there are innumerable, Indian history is full of it. Even Guru Tegh Bahadur was a great martyr. All of them died for principles and ideals because they were all men of character, a very strong character. And that is what makes a difference, a leader. So it is the character which finally decides a person. Can we see such people today? Are there any martyrs in the making? Or do we have men of character? Yes. We can't say we don't have. We have, very much have. Even today, in all walks of life, not only in the armed forces. When I say Indian Army, it includes Army, Navy, Air Force. Not only armed forces, even the police, CRPF, BSF, everywhere. We have people who have, even the civil service, I must say, people who have taken a stand and showed their character and withheld their principles and ideals. Yes, Indian Army is a very, very shining example, because every day almost we have somebody dying. We have glorious examples of Kargil war. You know how this Batra is there, and so many other stories which we hear about Kargil war, people are sacrificed. And latest, of course, is Galwan, where Colonel Santosh Babu fought the Chinese, and he's been awarded MVC Mahavir Chakra for the Republic Day a couple of days back. They're all gallant warriors, and they have become martyrs. So they all give a wonderful example to us how we are able to protect our border. Years back, when I was a young major, I visited Bombay. There again I met a college student who said, "Sir, till the time Indian Army is there in this country, we really don't have to worry." Yes, जब तक भारत में फौज है, we don't have to worry. It's true. Anything and everything, whether it's a natural calamity, Uttarakhand, we had the cloudburst, or floods, or riots, or anything for that matter, Indian Army and the armed forces are always there. It's a backbone. It is the spine of this nation which has been holding all of us together. So we are really, really proud of it. Now all these martyrs ahead, right from say freedom fighters onwards, they've got us the freedom all right. And the armed forces now today is busy maintaining it and sustaining it. It is not enough that we get freedom. कि एक बार freedom मिल गया is enough. No. Now you have to retain it. You have to sustain it. And that is more difficult. Today you see how China is trying to encroach upon your land. Like a big bully is already coming. He's not ready to budge. And we have been eye to eye for so many months now. You see, so every day we have to fight. While the Indian Armed Forces is fighting the external enemies, we have several internal enemies, which rest of the citizens together have to fight. Now, technically speaking, we got independence in 47, but I don't fully agree to that. We got a freedom in 47, all right. We got freedom from whom? From Britishers, that's all. But still we have not got the absolute freedom. We haven't got freedom from poverty. We haven't got freedom from illiteracy. We haven't got freedom from corruption. We haven't got freedom from the communal hatred, unemployment, our mindset. There's so many things. We have still a long way to go. Today, when you visit RDP, I don't know how many people of you have seen the Republic Day parade live. I won't say how many have seen. Had I been physically, I could have asked you. How many have not seen? Being in Delhi, I'm sure. Whenever I was in Delhi, I have posted for a couple of years. Every year I used to make it a point. And really it gives you goosebumps, And especially when you see a mother or a widow standing in front of the president, the citation is being read as to how her son or husband fought valiantly against the enemy and sacrificed his life. Even today, I have tears in my eyes when you hear about that. And if you remember the famous song of Lata ji, ऐ मेरे वतन के लोगों जरा आँख में भर लो पानी, जो शहीद हुए हैं उनकी जरा याद करो कुर्बानी. Even when I hear this song today, I have tears in my eyes. What a wonderful eternal song. Fine. But what do? We shed tears. We are really touched. Our heart melts. But thereafter we wipe our tears. And what's happening? What's happening after that? We switch to WhatsApp. After that, we are busy with the WhatsApp messages. How can we be so very heartless when every day somebody is fighting at the border, sacrificing his life, and we couldn't care less? That's very sad. That's where I feel the students of political science come into play. I hope I am audible clearly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is where the students of, I feel, political science come into play. You can work on the mindset of people. So what can you do? I don't want you to go to the border because already there are many people there guarding the borders. Yes, I would like and love that if you join the army, Navy, Air Force, and then go to the border after fully trained. Fine. Or like Rang De Basanti movie, pick up a cause and fight and become martyrs. I also don't mean that. Here I would like to quote Narayan Murthy. Patriotism is all about working ethically and wholeheartedly. Ethically and wholeheartedly in our chosen field. Wonderful quote. So how can you as students shape the future of the nation? Generally our country is doing well. I am very, very happy. The nation is doing generally very well. It is inching forward. It is not going backward like so many other countries. We are moving forward. But we can be galloping, we can be running, we can be sprinting, we can be galloping like a horse. Why? Because everybody is not cooperating. That is the reason that our country is not galloping forward. We have an excellent 5-year plan, one of the best 5-year plans in the world. We have intelligent people here who make. But what is the execution? Maybe 2 or 3 out of 10. We have a wonderful PDS system. But what reaches the last man? What is the last man delivery? If the government grants 100 rupees to poor people, finally what reaches only 20. Why? Why are there so many transmission losses? While we have a wonderful infrastructure, there are many types of infrastructure. Like I'll tell you, a physical infrastructure. Physical infrastructure, you understand, roads, buildings, bridges, railway stations, metros, airports, malls, schools, colleges. Physically you can see them. They are physical infrastructure. Like Delhi Metro has come so beautifully well. Then you have a mental infrastructure. Mental infrastructure, everything connected to mind, your skill, your knowledge, your capabilities. You have so many think tanks and strategists in this nation. And you have Ayurveda, yoga, all this soft power and soft skills are the mental infrastructure that India has. Beautiful. And today, gentlemen, I am really very proud. Because of our mental infrastructure, we have been able to develop the vaccine and not only give it to our own nation, but supplying to neighboring countries. It's a great achievement. I'm really proud of it. We should all be proud of our country. Yes, we have a good mental infrastructure. But do you think a physical and mental infrastructure together is enough? If suppose you had an electrician who is physically very tough and mentally he knows the job, you give him 1 lakh of rupees and tell him, या मेरे घर का पूरा बिजली की तार बदल दे, change my entire wiring in my house. Do you think he'll do it? He'll catch the next bus home. You've given him 1 lakh, yeah? He'll take the next bus home. Why? Why can't he do it? Because application of intellect is character driven. You got to have character. You got to have the moral strength to do your job. A doctor, he may know everything. But if he is corrupt, he won't do his job. An engineer, so to say. So, it is the moral infrastructure. I don't know if you have heard of this word. You must have heard. The moral infrastructure is equally, if not more important, along with physical and mental infrastructure for the development of this nation. What we lack today is the national character. I don't say it's bad, but not good either. When it comes to Transparency International, if you see, we are somewhere 80th in the 180 countries. There are so many countries ahead of us. So we need all three. Now I'll give you some wonderful examples. The Delhi Metro, a beautiful combination of physical, mental and moral infrastructure. Excellent. In fact, we were finished before time. And what about Commonwealth Games? I won't say anything more on that. You know it, what all happened there. So we need a holistic plan which you as students can work on. From womb to tomb. You know what the engineers and doctors do? There are many engineering colleges in Delhi and doctors. They generally cut teeth and do so many things. Basically physical infrastructure. If somebody is doing an open heart surgery, He works on a dead body first, then comes on to a live body. Similarly, engineer opens a dead car and then the live car, and so many things. So they are able to see. So engineer doctors are able to physically see something in front of them, then work on it. But how do you work on something which you can't even see? When you want to work on the mind of the people, the internal part, the moral part, moral infrastructure is internal, inside out. How do you see that? You don't even know what a person is thinking. Like today, right now, I don't know. There are 150, I am told here. I don't know what all you are thinking. Somebody must be watching Rangde Basanti, or somebody must be sitting in America, somebody in a burger shop, or somebody must be wondering about his lunch, and somebody will thinking कि यार ये कब खत्म करेगा. So many things. People are thinking all kinds of things. So how do you work on the mind? There are ways and means of working on a mind. So it's a much more difficult task to work on the moral infrastructure, and we don't have any plan as such on that. It has to be started right from birth. When we start working on the mindset, it has to be from birth, or even before birth for that matter. Like Abhimanyu story, how Abhimanyu heard the Chakravyuh plan and the tricks to break it even when he was in the mother's womb. So, do we have any plan in this country today when we focus on pregnant woman to impress upon the child even before he is born? In good families, they look after a pregnant mother. A child is to be born, the mother is looked after, well fed, and all positive thinking is done. She listens to good music, in fact, and all nice things are done to her, and a nice picture of a child or a beautiful child is put in the bedroom in front of the wall where she is to get up and see it every day. All positive thinking is done so that it affects the child. Really, our Indians are great. So it is very, very important that we influence a person even before he is born. And thereafter a child is born, 0 to 5 is the age, after birth. The first 5 years, the child is with the mother. It is the mother which influences the character of a child. I will tell you a small story here which my father told me a long time back. A lady had a son, 2-3-year-old son, very passionate about him. That boy used to go to the neighboring house, and one day he bought a small spoon from the neighbor's house. So what would you do normally? A mother would do. बेटा ऐसा नहीं करते, किसी और का सामान उठा के नहीं लाते हैं, इसको आप वापस दे के आओ. बट व्हाट डिड दिस लेडी डू? बहुत अच्छा किया, वेरी गुड, कल 2 लेके आना. And gradually she told him to get more and more and more. And what happens finally? That boy grew up and became a big gangster, a don, and all kinds of, criminal acts. So finally, the story ends that he has to land up in jail, and one day he was being hanged for all the commitments. So his last wish, magistrate asked him the last wish. बोलो तुम्हारी आखिरी मर्जी क्या है? So he says, I want to talk to my mother. The mother is called. So he goes to her ears and bites off her ears. The mother screams, what are you doing? What are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? He says, it is because of you that I am here today. Had you stopped me when I was a kid, I may not have reached here. So it is just a moral story. Thereafter, a child goes from 5 to 7, 17 years in school, then college, and thereafter 21 to 60 years he is with the boss, and then 60 beyond he is retired. So there are various phases of a man. So we need to think and work on this in detail. And if we have to really honor a martyr, the kind of sacrifices that they have made, and we should not let those sacrifices go waste. So that is the least we can do. But before we do this, we must think big, as I say, but we can also do very small things, small steps in our daily life. I know many of you must be driving scooters and cars. How many of you jump the red light here? I would like to know. When there is no traffic. A man was walking with his child at a red light signal. It was red. So he didn't cross the road. And he waited. So somebody told him, there is no traffic. It's early morning hour. Why don't you cross? He said, no. I can cross. I know there is no traffic. I can cross the road. But my child is seeing. What will he know? What will he learn? that it is okay to cross in red light. So how many of you stop at red light? And you tell me, if you are going with your friend and your friend jumps the red light twice, once or twice, do you have the moral courage to tell him, don't do it? Do you have it in you? Or if he does something wrong, can you correct him? Or if one of your friends teases a girl on the road, can you stop him? That is the question I'd like to ask you. How many of you have the courage? I would request that you must, you एक कोनी मारते हैं ना अपने दोस्त को कहते हैं, you hit him with the elbow. What are you doing? And that will make a difference. When so many people have sacrificed for this great nation, we can't do such a small thing. You leave your house, you switch off the taps and the fans. But when you come out, do you do that if you see water flowing in your colony or a light burning during daytime, or in your college if you see a tap water flowing? It's the same water, it's the same electricity. Do you think of saving it? So these small things, small sense of responsibility, directly or indirectly impinges upon the national character and the build-up. So it is not a small thing. It is a concern for your nation. In fact, I would say every day you get up, you must thank God that you got up, that you have seen the morning. It is not your alarm which has woken you up. It is somebody up there who has woken you up. The first thing you must thank Him. And when you place your feet on this ground, on this Mother Earth, you must thank the martyrs, because of whom you are able to place your feet on this ground. Otherwise, today there are many countries who are suffering, and we have the freedom to do whatever we want. So we got to aim for absolute freedom. Freedom from poverty, freedom from illiteracy, corruption, unemployment, communal hatred, and our mindset. So absolute freedom is what is the big gift which we can give to our martyrs. I would now like to ask you, how many of you write diaries, diary of dreams? Like Abdul Kalam also said, you must dream big. Diary of dreams, either say DOD or dream diary, DD. DD also means Doordarshan. So I don't mean Doordarshan here. Diary of dreams. You are very young. I am 62, almost 3 times your age, but of course equally young at heart. When you are young, you have so many wonderful ideas. You must dream big and write that down in your diary. You have so much of Josh, so much of power. You must write it down in your diary. Everything that comes to your mind. And then keep it in a very safe place. You can see it after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. After some time when you start getting into the rut of this life, when you come to know the aate dhal ka bhav, some of the fire in you is extinguished. Aapki aag dheere dheere bujh jati hai. Why? So then, after 4 years or 5 years, you must pick up your diary and see. In fact, you must see it every year. And to see what you dreamt when you were 19 or 20. Is that fire still on? Is that fizz in the soda still there? You must keep the fizz and soda alive. You understand? If the soda is flat, then maza nahi aata hai. So you must keep the fire burning, keep the fizz and the soda alive. So for that, you must write it down in your diary so that you rekindle yourself every year or every 5 years. I also do it. I write my diaries. And then you dream big, and then you can achieve what you want. You can check after some time, are you digressing from where you want to go? The ideal thoughts which you had in one, you can achieve if you dream big. Like Vivekananda also said, if you want to dream about, you want to do something, dream about it, think about it, breathe about it, live it. And then nothing else should come to your mind. So if you do that, then nothing is stopping you. So many people have said that. So you must dream and write it down. Yeah, I would also like to ask, you people are in Delhi, a very privileged lot, I must say. And Venki's is a very absolutely wonderful place in Dhaula Kuan. How many of you have visited the War Memorial, the National War Memorial? Please do. Today is the Martyrs' Day. It's a wonderful time to go. It's really motivating. It's a wonderful. I would request the principal to organize a visit to the war memorial. Really wonderful, simply wonderful. When you visit, you're really motivated. In fact, it is a mandir for all of us. हर साल जाके हमें मत्था टेक लेना चाहिए. For we remember all the martyrs, the great job done. It gives so much of positive energy. You don't know. When you visit these places, like when you visit a temple, it gives you so much of positivity and positive energy. And that positive energy is delivered to every cell of your body. Your heart, your mind, your soul, in every cell. And that positivity makes you grow further. So you must visit these places. And being in Delhi, you must make use of that. I must say India is a beautiful country. I love it. It's a wonderful country. There are some ifs and buts, yes. And we all together, and you, the students of political science, can make wonders. Can you tell me one latest, the recent political science student who has done wonders at the international level? Yeah, Kamala Harris. I'm not able to ask you question directly. Kamala Harris is also a political science student, so you have something to look for. Now, I have only one thing to ask you. As an old soldier, I spent about 40 years in the army, and we have seen so many martyrs who have sacrificed. As an old soldier, I make a very small request. I request you all to make a pledge along with me. I want you all to keep your hand on your heart and repeat after me what I say. Is it okay? There's some sound coming up. Is it okay? Are you all ready?
Yes, sir.
So today, keep your hand on your heart and speak from your heart whatever I say. Today on Martyrs' Day,
Today on Martyrs' Day,
I pledge to never let the sacrifice of our martyrs go in vain. I pledge to ensure that whatever I do, it shall be in the interest of the nation
shall be in the interest of the nation.
and its people.
Yes. And its people.
I pledge to help India attain freedom, absolute freedom from all ailments. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, my students and my brothers and sisters. Best wishes and God bless.